I'm Sarah, nutritionist for Optimal Body Balance and the Naturopath Health Center. In this video, I'm going to show you the technique that I use to chop up both onions and garlic cloves. Okay, we're going to start off with the onion. Remember to use a nice clean and sharp chef's knife. And the first thing you're going to want to do is cut off one end of the onion. So I like to save this end. It's a little bit easier to hold on to, and then cut off the sprouting end of the onion. So I'm just going to make a simple cut off that end. So you have a nice flat surface on one part. Get rid of those scraps. And then some people are tempted to peel the onion at this stage. It's a little bit easier if you cut it in half before you peel it. So simply lay it on the flat surface that you just cut. It's easier to cut things on a flat surface than it would be to lay it on the round surface and cut it, because it can slip on you that way. So lay it on the flat surface and just cut it right in half like that. Now it'll be a lot easier to peel the onion. So just start at the edge and peel off the outer skin. And just rip it off at the root end. Another tip, if you are sensitive to cutting onions, if you tend to get really watery eyes, is to chill the onions for a little while in the refrigerator or freezer before you cut them. It also helps to use a very sharp knife, because the cleaner you can make the cut, the less irritating it will be to your eyes. So you can see how most of that skin came off in good sized pieces. Much easier than trying to peel it whole. Alright, so we get all our scrap out of our way. And then just take one of the onion halves, and you're going to want to make a cut parallel to the flat side of the onion. So just this way through the onion. Just hold it carefully, place your knife, get your fingers out of the way, and slowly make a cut like that. So it's all the way through, but it stops there at that root end. So it's being held together at the root end there. Then what you're going to want to do is make several cuts this way on the onion. So the number of cuts you make depends on how fine or thick you want your dice to be. So I'm going to make several because I want a pretty fine dice for my onion. And if you go all the way through, you can see this part detached a little bit. That's okay, you can just hold it together. So I've made several cuts this way through the onion, stopping at the root end. And then all you're going to do is chop it up this way. This is why I like to keep the root end on, because you can hold it with your fingers and keep them out of the way. So just keep chopping it up, and again, the number of cuts you make just depends on how thick or thin you want your dice. And as we get closer to the end, you can see I'll just hold on to that little root. And once you're close enough, you feel like you've got enough onion off of there, you can discard that little piece. And here we've got our diced onion. And if you decide you want this a little bit finer, you can always run through it a few times with your knife like this. Alright, and that is how you dice an onion. Next, I'm going to show you how to peel and dice a garlic clove. So in order to get the peel off the easiest way, what I like to do is just lay it on the cutting board and then lay your knife flat on top of the garlic clove, and using the heel of your hand, just give it a nice firm tap. Just being careful not to put the heel of your hand close to the edge. Keep your hand close to the dull side of the knife and just give it a nice firm tap like that. Just smashing the garlic clove with your knife. So you can see it pops out of the skin a little bit. I find this to be the easiest way to peel the garlic clove because you can see the skin comes off in one piece. So there is a little root on the garlic clove. You can pare that off with your knife. Toss that in the scrap pile. And then your clove should be pretty flat. If it's not pretty flat, you can squish it down a little bit more with your knife. And it's very, very simple then just to dice up your garlic clove. I just like to do it several times in different directions depending on how small you want the dice. Again, you want to make sure it's flat so that it doesn't roll around on you a lot. And then just go over it several times. You can hold your knife like this. I find it to be the easiest way to hold the tip down instead of trying to chop just with one hand. It gives you a little bit better control over your knife and where it goes. So, you know, just scraping off your knife every once in a while until you get the size dice or mince that you want. And that is how you dice up garlic cloves and onions.